The last breakfast on the Hindenburg shows 34 seconds that changed aviation forever after a quiet morning over the Atlantic. Passengers sat in the dining room eating fresh rolls and drinking coffee while the massive ship floated through the clouds. No one in that luxurious lounge could have predicted the hydrogen fire that would soon consume their entire world. The crew prepared for a routine landing at Lakehurst while families waited on the ground with cameras and flowers. If everything seemed perfectly normal during the final descent, why did the airship suddenly become a massive falling torch? May 6th began the way every crossing should end, with warm bread, soft light, and the Atlantic glittering 800 feet below the dining room windows. Children pressed their faces against the glass while their parents refilled coffee cups and traded stories about Frankfurt and New York. The Hindenburg was longer than 3 Boeing 747s laid end to end, yet inside it felt intimate, almost domestic, like a floating hotel that happened to move. Stewards moved between tables with the practiced calm of men who had made this crossing a dozen times before. Somewhere forward, crew members were already walking toward the nose, running through the same checklist they always ran, counting down the final hours to Lakehurst.
That crew member moving through the corridor wasn't wandering. He had a job, and everyone on this ship did. The Hindenburg ran on choreography. Radio operators confirming approach vectors,
Riggers checking mooring lines, altitude officers reading the trim with practiced hands. Captain Max Pruss had landed this ship before, and he knew Lakehurst the way a conductor knows his hall. But the afternoon wasn't cooperating the way it should have, because a line of electrical storms had settled over New Jersey and refused to move. Ground control radioed a delay, and the ship circled for hours above the darkening coastline, burning time and hydrogen. By early evening, the worst of it seemed to pass, and Pruss made the call to bring her in. Every instrument said the conditions were acceptable, every procedure was followed, every man at his station. What nobody could measure was the thing that was already waiting for them on the ground.
Down on the field at Lakehurst, a few hundred people had been waiting most of the afternoon for this moment. Wives scanned the promenade windows, hoping to catch a glimpse of a familiar face pressed against the glass. Reporters leaned on their cars with notepads ready, expecting the most routine story of their week. A newsreel camera was already rolling, pointed at the sky, because a Zeppelin arrival was still worth filming. And when the Hindenburg finally appeared through the low clouds, the crowd's mood lifted. It always did. She came in slowly, almost gently, her silver hull catching the last gray light of the evening. From the ground, she looked exactly like what she was supposed to be. The safest, most elegant way to cross an ocean. The mooring lines dropped, and the ground crew reached up to take them. At 7:25 in the evening,
a small flame appeared near the Hindenburg's tail, and the world that existed before it never came back. The hydrogen caught in an instant, and 800,000 cubic feet of gas became a single, roaring column of fire above the New Jersey marshland. Herb Morrison, reporting live from the airfield below, lost his professional composure in real time, his voice cracking into something raw and human that radio had never broadcast before. The ship that had served breakfast above the Atlantic that very morning folded into itself in 34 seconds. Families who had been waving from the fence line watched the people they were waiting for fall through smoke and burning wreckage. 13 crew, 21 passengers, and 1 ground worker died, but the number that truly ended an era was 1. 1 broadcast, 1 newsreel, 1 catastrophe witnessed by the entire world at once. No government inquiry or engineering fix could restore what that footage destroyed, because the fear it planted was permanent and total. The confident crew, the quiet breakfast, the children pressing their faces to the windows. All of it became the last morning of something that would never fly again.